Today, we are going to be talking about a fresh, action-packed adventure anime, Fairy Tail. It was created by Hiro Mishima, and his manga ran from 2006 to 2017. The anime adaptation first aired in Japan in 2009, and in the US, the series first began airing in 2010. All in all, the anime lasted from 2009 all the way up to 2019. The epic saga spans over 300 episodes. Beware of spoilers, and let's jump right into it. Number 1, the Macao Arc. In Hargan, Natsu Dragneel and his talking cat Happy search for Igneel. They meet Lucy Heartfilia, who almost falls for the charm of Salamander, a fraud using illegal magic to enslave girls. Natsu rescues Lucy, and they bond over a meal where Natsu reveals his quest for Igneel, a dragon. Salamander, whose real name is Bora, then invites Lucy to a yacht party under false pretenses. On board, Bora attempts to drug Lucy, but she resists and Natsu intervenes. Happy then saves Lucy, and with her help, Natsu defeats Bora using his Dragon Slayer magic. The trio then flees from the military and heads to Magnolia Town, the location of the Fairy Tail Guild. Lucy experiences the guild's rowdy atmosphere and its members, including Gray and Mira Jane. Guildmaster Makarov then reprimands the members but encourages them to follow their hearts. Lucy officially joins Fairy Tail, and Natsu then undertakes a mission to find Macao, a missing guild member. Lucy and Happy accompany him to Mount Alcovy. They discover Macao possessed by a monster, the Vulcan, which Natsu defeats. They return Macao to his son Romeo and head back to the guild, forming a stronger bond. Number 2, the Daybreak Arc. Lucy finds a new home in Magnolia, but Natsu and Happy break in, prompting her to scold them before allowing them to stay. They discuss Lucy's celestial spirits, and after summoning her new spirit, Plu, they form Team Natsu. They take a job to retrieve a book from Duke Everloo in Shirotsume Town. At the Fairy Tail Guild, Makarov suspects something about the job's high reward. Upon arrival, the team meets their clients, Cabby Mellon and his wife, who reveal they want the book destroyed. Posing as a maid, Lucy distracts Everloo, but he rejects her. The team sneaks into the mansion and finds the book Daybreak in the library. Lucy stops Natsu from burning it, recognizing the author as one of her favorites. Everloo and his guards, the Vanish brothers, then attack, but Natsu defeats them. Lucy reads the book, discovering its true significance and Everloo's corrupt actions. She summons her spirit Cancer, and with Natsu's help, defeats Everloo and his spirit Virgo. Returning to Cabby, Lucy reveals the book's secret message, written by Cabby's father. Cabby then regrets his past actions towards his father, and Natsu refuses the reward, sensing Cabby's true financial status. Lucy is happy with the outcome, and the team heads back to Fairy Tail, their first mission a success. Number 3, the Eisenwald Arc. Lucy is indecisive about her next job, and Mira Jane explains the magic world's government and dark guilds to her. Natsu and Gray's antics are interrupted by Loki's panic over Lucy's celestial spirit keys. Urza Scarlet then returns, shocking the guild, and she reprimands their bad habits. Urza, Natsu, Gray, and Lucy form a team for a mission involving the Dark Guild Eisenwald and a dangerous magic item called Lullaby. On the train, Natsu's motion sickness leads to an emergency encounter with Eisenwald member Kageyama. Urza's team learns of Eisenwald's plan to use Lullaby's deadly music to kill the guild masters. Urza, Natsu, and Gray then chase Aragorn, Eisenwald's leader, while engaging his guild members. Urza's battle prowess is highlighted, and Natsu defeats Aragorn in a climactic fight. Kageyama then attempts to use Lullaby at the guild masters meeting, but is convinced by Makarov to abandon his plan. Lullaby then transforms into a demon, but is swiftly defeated by Team Natsu, causing collateral damage. The team then gets lost in Web Valley, discovering and battling enchanted monsters. They return to Magnolia, where Urza is arrested mid-fight with Natsu due to a false accusation orchestrated by the Magic Council. Natsu's rescue attempt ends in a courtroom disruption, where Urza explains that the arrest was just a show to assert authority, and she appreciates Natsu's concern. Number 4, the Sub-Zero Emperor Lyon Arc. Upon Natsu and Urza's return from prison, the guild is visited by Mustogan, a masked man who uses magic to put everyone to sleep except Makarov, the guildmaster. Mustogan takes a job and leaves. Laxus, another powerful mage, boasts about seeing Mustogan's face and his own strength, prompting Natsu to challenge him, but Makarov stops the fight, explaining that only those with his permission can go to the second floor where S-class requests are posted. These quests are extremely dangerous, as Mira Jane explains to Lucy. Lucy later finds Natsu unhappy at her apartment, planning to undertake an S-class mission without permission. Initially refusing, Lucy is tempted by the promise of a celestial spirit key as a reward and joins them. Mira Jane soon notices the missing requests, and the guild realizes Natsu, Happy, and Lucy are responsible. Gray volunteers to bring them back. The trio reaches Hargentown, seeking a boat to Galuna Island, but sailors fear the island's curse. Gray catches up and tries to stop them, but a sailor named Bobo, an ex-inhabitant of the island, agrees to take them. On the way, Bobo reveals his demonic arm and the island's curse. At the island, Bobo vanishes, leaving the team stranded. They continue their quest and reach the village, where the chief explains the villagers' transformation into demons due to a cursed purple moon. They must destroy the moon to then break the curse. The team explores the island, discovering a hidden temple and a frozen demon, Deloria. They learn about the moon drip ritual, which might be causing the curse. Gray recognizes Deloria, calling his tragic past with his mentor, who sacrificed herself to seal Deloria. The team encounters Lyon, former pupil, who seeks to revive Dariora to surpass Gray and Lyon then battle, revealing a deep personal conflict. Natsu then stops Gray from sacrificing himself using Ice Shell to defeat Lyon. Meanwhile, Urza arrives to bring the team back. The demon then awakens, but falls apart, having been long dead due to Urza's ice. The group then learns that the village's curse was actually due to residual moon drip magic, creating a false purple moon. Urza then shatters this illusion, revealing the villagers' true demonic forms, uncovering the truth about Galuna Island. Number 5. The Phantom Lord Arc. Upon returning to Fairy Tail, Natsu, Urza, Gray, Lucy, and Happy find their guild attacked by the Phantom Lord. Makarov dismisses the incident, punishing them for unauthorized S-class missions. The team stays at Lucy's apartment for safety. Phantom Lord's elite Element 4 and Dragon Slayer Gajeel Red Fox are revealed as powerful adversaries. Gajeel attacks and captures Fairy Tail's Shadow Gear team, provoking a serious response from Makarov. Fairy Tail retaliates, but Lucy is kidnapped by Element 4 members Juvia and Soul. Natsu fights Gajeel, but is interrupted, leading to Makarov's confrontation with Phantom Lord's master, Jose. Makarov is defeated, forcing Fairy Tail to retreat. Lucy learns her father orchestrated her kidnapping. Natsu then rescues her, and they prepare for another Phantom Lord attack. Urza stops a massive cannon blast but is injured, and as Fairy Tail battles Phantom Lord Shades and invades their headquarters, Natsu disables the cannon and defeats Element 4 member Totemaru. Elfman then defeats Soul, triggering a slowdown in Phantom Lord's Abyss Break spell. Gray defeats Juvia, further delaying the spell. Urza confronts Arya, ultimately defeating him and stopping Abyss Break. Jose then captures Lucy again, but Natsu rescues her, and Makarov revives to defeat Jose with Fairy Law. Fairy Tail triumphs, rebuilding their guild, and Lucy resolves her issues with her father, asserting Fairy Tail as her true family. The Magic Council then disbands Phantom Lord, and Makarov avoids retirement to guide his guild. Team Natsu officially forms, ready for new adventures. Number 6. The Loke Arc. Lucy, struggling with rent, is given a job by Mira Jane to advertise a play. Upon arrival, her team finds the cast has fled, and Urza volunteers them to replace the actors. They rehearse for a week, but on opening night, overcome stage fright and chaos ensues when Natsu sets the stage on fire. Despite the destruction, the play is a hit, leading to multiple performances, much to the team's exhaustion except for Urza. After completing a job subduing thieves, the team enjoys free time in a village, where they encounter Loki. That night, Natsu suggests a pillow fight, which results in a destroyed hotel room. Lucy, feeling overwhelmed, is kidnapped during a walk, but saved by Loki. During a drink, Loki reveals his time is limited to live, which he later dismisses as a joke, angering Lucy. Back at the guild, Lucy investigates and learns about his past with Karen Lilica, a cruel celestial spirit mage. Loke, revealed to be Leo the Lion, was exiled for causing Karen's death by refusing to return to the celestial spirit world. Lucy finds him at Karen's grave and learns he feels guilty for her death. As Loki fades from existence, Lucy attempts to save him, nearly merging with his life force. The celestial spirit king then appears, acknowledging his suffering, but bound by rules. And Lucy's determination leads her to summon all her zodiac spirits, impressing the king, who allows Loki to return. Loki, urged to atone by fighting for his allies, forms a contract with Lucy. The next day, he explains his past to the team and gives them tickets to a luxury resort. Number 7. The Tower of Heaven Arc. Here we are introduced to Urza Scarlet's mysterious past. It is revealed that Urza was once a slave in the Tower of Heaven, a structure built by the Dark Magic Guild, the Balam Alliance. Urza's old friends from the Tower of Heaven, Jalal and the Oración Seis, plan to resurrect the dark wizard Zareth using the tower's magic. Urza, Natsu, Gray, Lucy, and the others from Fairy Tail embark on a mission to stop them and rescue Urza's friends who are still trapped there. Fairy Tail encounters Jalal, who has manipulated the Tower of Heaven's inhabitants, including Urza's childhood friends, into believing they are creating a paradise. Jalal seeks to use the tower's immense magic power for his own sinister plans. Urza's childhood friend Simon turns against Jalal upon realizing his true intentions. Meanwhile, Urza faces her traumatic memories and confronts Jalal in a battle of emotions and strength. Fairy Tail wizards, with the help from unexpected allies like Juvia Lockster, fight through the tower's defenses and face off against Jalal's followers. They work to free the slaves and dismantle the tower's magic core, crucial for Jalal's plans. Urza engages in a decisive battle with Jalal to stop his destructive ritual. With the support of her friends and her unwavering determination, Urza defeats Jalal and prevents the resurrection of Zareth. Jalal is ultimately redeemed, realizing the depths of his mistakes and seeking atonement. The rescued slaves then return to their normal lives, and Fairy Tail emerges victorious once again, Urza finally letting go of her pain. Number 8. The Battle of Fairy Tail Arc. After returning from vacation, Team Natsu finds Fairy Tail completely renovated with new amenities like an open-air cafe, pool, and more accessible areas. While most are impressed, Natsu feels the guild has lost its original charm. Guildmaster Makarov introduces new members Juvia and Gajil, causing mixed reactions due to their past. Tensions rise, leading to a chaotic guild war stopped only by Makarov's intervention. The next day, Lucy competes in the Miss Fairy Tail contest, interrupted when Luxus and his Thunder God tribe turn it into a battle for dominance. They petrify contestants, setting a 3-hour challenge for Fairy Tail to defeat them across Magnolia or lose the girls forever. Internal conflicts erupt as guild members clash under the magical barriers. Natsu and Gajil, unable to leave, strategize to rescue their comrades. Urza and Mistogan join the fray, countering Luxus' plans. Meanwhile, Luxus escalates by activating the Thunder Palace, threatening to destroy Magnolia. Natsu and Gajil rally against Freed's enchantment, while Lucy and the others attempt evacuation. Battles ensue across town, culminating in confrontations against Thunder God tribe members like Bixlow and Evergreen. As tensions mount, Luxus' ultimatum to Makarov drives Fairy Tail to unite against an impending catastrophe, testing the loyalties and bonds within the guild itself. After the intense battle following Luxus' excommunication from Fairy Tail, the guild faces numerous challenges and personal revelations. Mira Jane engages Freed in a fierce battle where she taps into her Satan soul form to defeat him. Driven by the memories of her lost sister, Lizana, her compassion ultimately reaches Freed, ending the conflict on a human note. Meanwhile, Luxus' battle with Natsu and Gajil escalates dangerously as he attempts to use fairy law to dominate Magnolia Town, only to be thwarted by his lingering bonds with his guildmates. Ultimately, the events deepen the bonds within Fairy Tail, highlighting the themes of loyalty, forgiveness, and true meaning amongst the mages. Number 9. The Oración Seis Arc. After working as waiters to help Lucy pay her rent, Team Natsu learns from Yajima, the restaurant owner, about the disillusion of the old magic council. Ultir, a member of Grimoire Heart, informs her master Hades about the Oración Seis. Hades decides to leave them alone for now. Fairy Tail members learn about the Balam Alliance and their plans to destroy parts of it. especially those controlled by the Oración Seis. Meanwhile, 6 members of the Dark Guild observe the effects of Nirvana on the island. Team Natsu then meets mages from Blue Pegasus, Lamia Scale, and Kate Shelter to form an alliance against the oncoming threat. At the meeting, members from Blue Pegasus show off. Lyon Vastia arrives and freezes Ichiya's head in ice. Lucy rekindles her rivalry with Sherry Blendy, and Gray and Lyon do the same. Jura Nikas, a Lamia Scale ace, arrives, and the final member, Wendy Marvel from Kate Shelter, surprises everyone by being a little kid. Happy develops a crush on Carla, Wendy's cat companion, while Natsu tries to recall where he has seen Wendy before. The guild members then learn that the incoming threat is searching for a powerful magic called Nirvana. Before a plan is set, most of the alliance rushes to find the enemy. Jura, left behind, is attacked by Gemini, celestial spirits, leaving Angel of Oración Seis, who had infiltrated the meeting. While searching for the base, the Allied forces' airship is destroyed. The battle begins, and they effortlessly defeat the Alliance. Urza is poisoned by Hubelios. Brain kidnaps Wendy, recognizing her as the Sky Sorceress. Jura and Ichiya save the other. Ichiya's healing perfume can't cure Urza's poison, though. Urza asks for her arm to be chopped off, but Carla suggests Wendy that can heal her. The team then decides to rescue Wendy and Happy from danger. Brain reveals that Wendy's healing magic is needed for their plan. He orders his members to search for Nirvana. If Wendy refuses to help, she will once she knows who they're healing. Everyone splits up to find Wendy and Happy. Natsu learns about Wendy's Dragon Slayer magic and her connection to Grandini, the dragon who disappeared similar to Igneel. They are attacked by the Dark Guild Naked Mummy. Racer brings Jalal Fernandez in a coffin to the headquarters. Brain threatens Wendy to heal Jalal, who she loves and owes a debt to. Natsu and Gray reach Arison's base, engaging in battles. Wendy then heals Jalal, who then defeats Brain and leaves. The team tries to heal Urza. Gray continues fighting Racer, who is defeated by Gray's ice attack. As Natsu carries his unconscious friends, Hibiki guides him through archive magic. Racer, seeking revenge on Gray, summons motorbikes. Gray and Lyon team up, discovering Racer's weakness. His magic slows down others' perception of time. Gray then defeats Racer with an ice arrow. After defeating Racer, he straps an explosive lacrima to himself and charges at Gray. Lyon tackles Racer off a cliff, seemingly sacrificing himself. Natsu and Brain hear the explosion, and Brain, angry, orders Midnight to eliminate the Allied forces. Gray then searches for Lyon, convinced he isn't dead, while Sherry mourns. Jura and Hot Eye engage in a battle where their earth magic clashes as they debate the strength of conviction versus the power of magic. Meanwhile, Natsu rescues Lucy and Hibiki, while Wendy awakens to heal Urza, troubled by doubts about Jalal's alleged actions. Elsewhere, Jalal, unaware of Cobra trailing him, destroys a large tree, releasing Nirvana's initial light pillar. Wendy completes Urza's healing just as the light column emerges, signaling the appearance of Nirvana. Midnight and Brain anticipate its power to shift the balance of light and darkness. Hot Eye undergoes a transformation, rejecting his former allies and embracing love over greed. As Nirvana's influence spreads, tensions rise among Lucy's group as they race towards the light pillar, fearing the consequences of Nirvana's activation. Amidst the chaos, Lucy confronts Gemini, impersonating her, and faces off against Angel, who reveals her dark history with Lucy's celestial spirits. Hibiki intervenes, casting Uranometria to defeat Angel, saving Lucy from imminent danger. As Lucy reunites with her friends, Angel, though defeated, vows revenge while Brain plots to use Nirvana to destroy their enemies. Wendy narrates her encounter with Jalal to Carla, reminiscing about their time together and his subsequent departure due to dangerous circumstances involving the word anima. Meanwhile, Urza seeks Jalal, eventually finding him with amnesia at Nirvana's location. Despite his memory loss, the reunion is fraught with emotional tension as Urza recounts Jalal's past misdeeds, prompting him to take drastic measures to atone for his sins. The narrative then shifts to the battle between Natsu and the Oración Seis member Cobra, atop Nirvana. Cobra, a poison dragon slayer, proves a formidable opponent, but Natsu ultimately defeats him after a grueling aerial battle. As the story progresses, Urza faces Midnight, another member of Oración Seis, in a fierce battle of magic and willpower. Urza's determination and strength and strategic insight lead her to victory over Midnight despite his formidable abilities. The climax of the story revolves around the destruction of Nirvana, a powerful magical weapon. Natsu and his allies, including Jalal and Wendy, work together to destroy Nirvana's lacrima crystals, which power the destructive weapon. This effort culminates in a series of intense battles and sacrifices, including Jalal's arrest by the Magic Council. Ultimately, the story concludes with Wendy and her guildmates returning to Fairy Tail after overcoming their personal and collective struggles. Number 10. The Daphne Arc. After battling Oración Seis, Team Natsu returns to their guild with Wendy and Carla. While Natsu enjoys a rare moment free of motion sickness, Lucy reflects on recent events. She encounters Gemini, Scorpio, and Aries, who inform her of Angel's arrest and nullified contracts. Asking Lucy to form a contract with them, Lucy kindly agrees, making them happy. At Fairy Tail, when Wendy and Carla receive a warm welcome, Master Makarov announces a welcome party for them. Gajeel, feeling left out, envies the other Dragon Slayer's companions. Meanwhile, Mistogan is surprised to see Wendy at the guild. A week later, Wendy and Carla look for their first job. Gray tells Natsu about a rumor involving a woman named Daphne who claims to have seen a dragon. Natsu, Wendy, and Carla investigate while Gajeel remains skeptical. Concurrently, Urza is attacked by a hooded figure but manages to fend off the assailant. Natsu's group meets Daphne, who admits she lied about seeing a dragon and traps them. Gray appears, revealing he has joined Daphne and attacks Natsu. Despite suspicions, Daphne clarifies Gray's actions are voluntary. Urza and Lucy search for the missing team. Natsu and Gray continue their fight, with Gray eventually gaining the upper hand. Daphne reveals her plan to use Natsu's power for her Dragonoid. Gray's apparent betrayal is part of a larger plan to defeat the Dragonoid. The guild tries to save Natsu and stop the Dragonoid, and Daphne's lizard men complicate the battle. Gray and Juvia perform a unison raid to defeat the lizard men, and Natsu, driven by anger, breaks free and destroys the Dragonoid. The guild celebrates their victory and prepares for a Hanami party. Natsu and Happy surprise Lucy with a rainbow sakura tree, making her feel appreciated. Wendy then takes on a job with Freed and Happy, facing various challenges. Despite setbacks, Wendy's determination impresses her companions. They finally reach Onibus, where Arabian, the client, reveals the job was unnecessary. Wendy feels disheartened, but is encouraged by her friends. The guild then participates in the annual 24-hour endurance race. Everyone is eager to win, especially Jet, last year's winner. The race begins with fierce competition, showcasing the guild's camaraderie and spirit, and everyone has a blast during the event. Number 11. The Edolas Arc. A few days later, Gildarts returns from a sentry quest after 3 years. The town prepares for his arrival by creating a path called Gildarts Shift to prevent his magic crush from causing damage. Gildarts is surprised by the change in the guild and easily defeats Natsu in a sparring match. He reveals to Makarov that he couldn't complete his mission, shocking everyone. Gildarts then invites Natsu to his home and accidentally destroys a wall while leaving. At Gildarts' home, he questions Natsu about Lizana, learning of her death. He then shares his encounter with a black dragon that forced him to abandon his mission. Natsu, believing the dragon knows about Igneel, tries to leave, but Gildarts shows him his injuries from the dragon. Despite being told no human can defeat the dragon, Natsu insists he can as a dragon slayer and runs off. Gajeel searches unsuccessfully for a cat companion. Meanwhile, Happy tries to befriend Carla, who rejects him and questions his ability to protect Natsu. Mistogan reveals his true identity to Wendy and Carla, explaining that he is not Jalal, but had taken his name. He warns Wendy about the impending disappearance of Fairy Tail and Magnolia due to Anima, but Wendy refuses to abandon her friends. As Mira Jane and Elfman prepare to commemorate Lizana's death, Wendy sees a hole opening in the sky and rushes to the guild. But the town and the guild are already being sucked up. Natsu bursts out from the wreckage, and Carla explains that she and Happy are from Edolas, a world experiencing a magic shortage. Anima was created to transfer magic from Earthland to Edolas. Despite the risks, Natsu and Wendy decide to save everyone, and Carla reluctantly agrees to help, setting conditions to prevent any betrayal. They fly through Anima's remains to Edolas and rescue their friends. Natsu, Wendy, Carla, and Happy find themselves in a parallel world where magic is a limited resource and their guild, Fairy Tail, is viewed as a dark organization. They journey to save their friends who are trapped in lacrima crystals, encountering counterparts of themselves and their friends from Earthland. They face challenges such as the outlawing of magic, conflicts with the Edolas military, and ultimately confront the king of Edolas, who plans to use Dragonslayer magic to perpetuate eternal magic in Edolas. With teamwork and determination, they manage to save their friends, reveal Mustogan's identity as the Prince of Edolas, and restore balance between the two worlds. The arc finishes up with the gang being able to reunite the Takeover siblings who have not seen each other in years. Number 12. Tenrou Island Arc. After the Edolas crisis, Lysana returns to Fairy Tail with her friends and siblings to a warm reception from the guild members, who celebrate their safe return. The joyous occasion takes a chaotic turn when Gajeel unintentionally sparks a brawl among the members during the festivities. Meanwhile, at the newly reconstituted Magic Council, tensions rise as Fairy Tail faces scrutiny, with the council threatening disbandment if further troubles arise. Elsewhere, in a forested area, a mysterious young man accidentally unleashes devastating magic against attacking wolves and laments as he desires to meet Natsu. At the guild, excitement mounts as Fairy Tail prepares for its annual S-Class Mage promotion trial on Tenrou Island. Makarov announces the participants and their partners, setting the stage for a challenging competition. As the contestants embark on their journey, alliances form and challenges unfold, leading to unexpected encounters and confrontations. Amidst grave searching and intense battles, including encounters with Grimoire Heart Guild's formidable members, tensions escalate as the true threats to Fairy Tail's safety emerge. Zancro, asserting his superiority as a godslayer, challenges Natsu to a battle, where Natsu initially struggles and is thrown off a cliff. He discovers Makarov critically injured but refuses to leave his side, vowing vengeance against Hades. In their second clash, Natsu absorbs Zancro's flames after a desperate struggle, combining dragon and god flames to defeat him. Exhausted, Natsu is tended to by Wendy and the Exceeds. Meanwhile, Mira Jane and Lysana face Azuma's onslaught at the campsite, with Mira Jane briefly using her Satan soul to protect her sister, but ultimately being overwhelmed. Elsewhere on Tenrou Island, Altair seeks Xerath's aid for Grimoire Heart, only to be rejected. The battles escalate as Elfman and Evergreen confront Rusty Rose, facing defeat despite their efforts. The events unfold amidst the escalating tensions and battles among Fairy Tail, Grimoire Heart, and the mysterious powers on Tenrou Island. Lahar and Doranbolt discuss Blue Note at the Magic Council battleship wreckage. Doranbolt takes a communication lacrima and teleports to Wendy's location, offering to evacuate Fairy Tail mages. Natsu refuses, vowing to protect the guild. Meanwhile, Juvia is enraged by Meridy's taunts during her battle with Urza. Meridy links Juvia and Gray's senses, but Juvia's determination strengthens, turning the tide. When Meridy attempts to unalive herself, Juvia stops her, understanding Meridy's past and urging her to live. Eventually, they both cease fighting and fall into the water. Meanwhile, Urza encounters Azuma and faces difficulties while searching for Wendy. Rusty Rose threatens Fairy Tail at the main camp, but Freed and Bixlow return to aid in repelling Grimoire Heart forces. Urza fights Azuma, who uses his Great Tree Arc to weaken Fairy Tail by uprooting the Tenrou tree, draining their magical power. In another part, Kana arrives at Mavis' grave, seeking fairy glitter. She recounts her struggles and motivations, finally receiving Mavis' blessing, and acquires the magic. Kana then joins the battle against Blue Note, assisted by Gildarts. After a fierce struggle, Fairy Tail gains the upper hand against Grimoire Heart. Gildarts and Blue Note engage in a battle, with Gildarts ultimately prevailing. As the battles intensify across the island, including encounters with Altair and Gray, tensions rise. Altair manipulates events, leading Gray to confront Hades with the Ice Shell technique. Meanwhile, Team Natsu and the other Fairy Tail members face Hades directly. Laxus joins the fray, aiding in the battle against Hades, demonstrating his strength and teamwork with Natsu. The battles continue with intense magical clashes, and eventually Hades activates the Demon's Eyes, summoning demons and overwhelming Fairy Tail momentarily. However, Natsu's resolve and the unity of Fairy Tail members leads to Hades' defeat. Natsu's Crimson Lotus exploding lightning blade deals the final blow, restoring peace temporarily to Tenrou Island. After the battle, Fairy Tail members recuperate and reflect on their victories and losses. Xerath's appearance marks a turning point, leading to confrontation and revelations that impact the guild deeply. Meridy and Altair reconcile, while Kana reveals her true relationship with Gildarts, bringing an emotional closure to the arc. As tensions ease, a new threat emerges in the form of Acnologia, the black dragon of the apocalypse. The dragon's arrival shakes the island, and a desperate battle ensues. Makarov and the fairy tale members stand together, joining forces to protect their home. In a climactic moment, Fairy Tail unites against Acnologia's devastating attacks, displaying their unwavering resolve and teamwork. However, the dragon's immense power proves overwhelming, culminating in a cataclysmic explosion that seemingly obliterates Tenrou Island and all its inhabitants. 7 years later, Fairy Tail's legacy endures, with the guild's surviving members scattered and reflecting on the past. Romeo Convolt gazes out to sea, contemplating the future of Fairy Tail.
The X791 arc. 7 years have passed since the catastrophic destruction of Tenrou Island. Fairy Tail, a shell of what it used to be, with a number of new members and Macao, Romeo's father, replacing Makarov. Memories of the day Acnologia decimated Tenrou Island still flood through the tavern. Macao, overcome with emotion, begins to cry, lamenting how Romeo hadn't smiled since that tragic day. Their melancholy was interrupted by the dramatic arrival of Blue Pegasus on the airship Christina. Ichiya, Vandalay, Kotobuki, and the Trimans descended, patronizing Lackey before revealing they had detected something unusual in the Eterno waters. Ichiya delivered the startling news that Tenrou Island might actually still exist out there. Spurred by this revelation, the guild quickly organized a search party composed of Biska, Alzak, Max, Warren, Jet, and Droy. They ventured into the Ether Nano waters, hoping to locate their missing companions. Despite their efforts, the island remained elusive and the group's optimism waned. Just as despair threatened to take hold, they spotted a girl standing on the ocean's surface. She raised both hands, causing the waters to churn, and revealed Tenrou Island, encapsulated in a protective barrier covered with the fairy tale insignia. The girl led the search party to the island, where they found Natsu Dragneel unconscious and buried under debris. Back at the guild, Macao questioned Romeo about his decision to stay behind. Romeo expressed skepticism about the survival of their friends, given the 7 years since they were last seen. Their discussion was cut short by another intrusion from Twilight Ogre members. Theobald, one of their members, belittled the guild, prompting Romeo to demonstrate his newfound fire magic. However, Theobald easily extinguished Romeo's flames and was preparing to strike him. However, a powerful kick sends Theobald flying, and the missing S-Class Mage promotion trial candidates from Fairy Tail reappear at the guild, revealing that they have not aged a day since their disappearance. Fairy Tail's current members overwhelmed with joy and tears of happiness. The mysterious girl who had led the search party was revealed to be Mavis Vermilion, the first guild master of Fairy Tail. She explained that their faith and bonds had activated Fairy Sphere, a powerful defense magic that had protected them from Acnologia's attack by putting them in a protective barrier stasis for 7 years. Makarov praised Mavis and reassured the guild of their miraculous survival. Natsu, moved by the sight of Romeo all grown up, welcomed him back with a smile that he hadn't seen in years. The guild celebrated their reunion with a 3-day party filled with revelations. Natsu learned about Romeo's new fire abilities, honed with lessons from Totomaru, a former Phantom Lord member. Gajeel shared in the amusement, while Macao offered Makarov his position as guildmaster, which Makarov declined, letting Macao keep the title. Urza was stunned to learn of Biska and Alzak's marriage and their daughter, Asuka, and Carla disapproved of the more humanoid depictions of the Exceeds. Members of Lamia Scale visited, revealing their rise to the second strongest guild in Fior and their role in searching for Tenrou Island. Lyon, smitten with Juvia, complicated the guild's love dynamics, while Gildarts inquired about his connection to Kana. Lucy, reflecting on the hardships of the past 7 years, returned to her old residence, only to be met with a hefty rent demand from her landlady. Unable to pay, she contemplated her next steps, drawing parallels to her strained relationship with her late father, Jude Hartfilia. With Natsu and happy support, she visited her father's grave, coming to terms with her feelings and finding solace in a heartfelt letter he had left for her. Meanwhile, Makarov, Urza, and Mira Jane confronted Twilight Ogre's leader, Bana Boaster, about their debt. Makarov assured him that Fairy Tail would repay not just their monetary debt, but the pain inflicted over the years as well. They decisively trashed Twilight Ogre's guild, reasserting Fairy Tail's dominance. As the guild continued to rebuild and reunite, Lucy discovered gifts her father had sent her every year on her birthday, leading to a tearful realization of their mutual but unspoken love. Natsu and Happy, always by her side, invited her on a new job, symbolizing the guild's enduring spirit and return. In the end, despite the lost years and changing times, Fairy Tail's hearts remained unbroken, their bond stronger than ever as they face a future full of hope and camaraderie. The key of the Starry Sky arc. As an old man awakes from a dream about a burning church and a mechanical bear speaking ominous words, a girl with a case is later seen on a train. At the Magic Council headquarters, Lahar and Grand Doma discuss church destructions and task Lahar with finding the culprit. In the Fairy Tale Guild, Lucy reads about the church bombings. Romeo introduces Lucy to a visitor, the girl from the train, who tearfully reveals herself as Michelle Lobster, claiming to be Lucy's younger sister. Despite seeming older, this is attributed to the events of Tenrou Island and the 7-year time skip. Michelle brings a memento from Lucy's father, a strange mechanical gear wrapped in bandages that terrifies Carla. Lucy invites Michelle to live with her, and they discuss the memento. Natsu then invites Lucy on a mission to catch bandits, and despite Lucy's warnings, Michelle insists on joining. Urza explains a plan to capture the bandits, and Michelle takes an active role impressing everyone with her enthusiasm. The mission is a success, but back at the guild, a report is revealed about Michelle's family. Lahar then investigates a destroyed church and finds it puzzling. Michelle suggests officially requesting the guild to solve the mystery of the memento, and Lucy agrees. The gear then starts levitating with runes appearing on it, and despite Makarov's warning, Lucy is determined to solve her father's riddle. While investigating, Lucy refuses to join Urza and Gray on a job, leading Juvia to become jealous. Meanwhile, Natsu and Gajeel encounter Laxus and challenge him to a duel. Wendy convinces them to plan the event for the next day. The guild then plans a festival for the showdown, and Lucy asks Levi to help decipher the writing on the gear. Gray and Urza fight bandits and the Vanish brothers, recovering stolen gold. At the festival, Natsu and Gajeel enjoy themselves while Lucy and Levi work on the riddle. Suddenly, 3 mysterious individuals resembling Edolas counterparts appear, demanding Lucy. However, Fairy Tail refuses, leading to a battle where the trio uses magic to incapacitate the guild members. Michelle claims to be Lucy to protect her, confusing the attackers. Lucy and Michelle then flee, pursued by Coco. They outwit her with the help of Virgo and continue running. The attackers, identified as the Legion Corps, pursue Lucy for her connection to the Clock Hand. Lucy decides to solve the mystery her father left her, despite the dangers. Meanwhile, Lucy and Michelle discover the Clock Hand's inscription and the connection to an ancient myth involving a pendulum clock. As the Legion Corps continues their pursuit, they attack the guild. Lucy, Natsu, and the others split into teams to find the clock parts. They face various challenges, including battles with golems and the Legion Corps members. Despite setbacks, Lucy remains determined to uncover her father's message and protect her friends from the impeding chaos. Dan notices Lucy hiding behind Michelle and declares their meeting is destined. Natsu then attacks Dan, but his strikes are deflected by Dan's shield, causing accidental destruction of the nearby ruins. The group then attempts to escape, but is stopped by Dan, who ignores their mission and starts fawning over Lucy. When Natsu attacks again, Dan tries to shrink him with his weapon, but ends up shrinking Lucy instead, who then demands to be returned to normal. Dan decides to keep her as a decoration on his armor. Meanwhile, Happy has grown significantly in size. Despite reminders of their mission from Coco and Happy, Dan and Natsu continue their battle. Lucy summons Sagittarius, but due to her shrunken size, he is ineffective and is dismissed. Michelle distracts Dan by proposing he marry Lucy in a holy crypt, while Romeo uses the opportunity to set off a smelly firework under Dan's armor. Amidst the chaos, Lucy is flung from Dan and caught by Happy, then restores Lucy to her normal size, but Happy remains huge. Elsewhere, Gajeel and his group are climbing a mountain, refusing to be carried by Panther Lily, who doesn't want to miss any clues. Urza's group is lost, with Kana noting they've been going in circles. Carla then suspects someone is playing tricks on them by altering the signs. Natsu telling Happy to stop flying to avoid damaging the ruins, so Dan returns Happy to normal size. Coco pursues the group to retrieve Lucy's book to find the clock piece faster, while Natsu confronts Dan. Lucy crashes into a statue, activating a trap that causes her and Coco to fall into a giant hole. They find themselves in an ossuary and decide to continue searching for the clock piece separately. Lucy and Coco discuss their motives for finding the clock parts, and Lucy shares her reasons, but Coco remains secretive. After narrowly escaping another trap thanks to Coco, they reach a dead end where Coco is knocked unconscious by a falling ceiling. Romeo and the others find them and continue their search, treating Coco's wounds when she awakens. Kajil's group struggles to find the clock piece until they deduce it must be buried in the mountain. Samuel, an Exceed, confronts them, and Panther Lily fights him while Kajil and the others dig and find the piece in ruins. They activate it by moving the clock hands, leading to a confrontation with a guardian statue. Despite initial setbacks, Kajil and his team manage to destroy the statue's weak point and retrieve the clock part, sending Samuel flying in frustration. Elsewhere, Mira Jane's team retrieves another clock piece from a lake, but Hughes appears and snatches it away. She uses her command magic to manipulate Elfman and attack his sisters. Despite this, they manage to distract Dan long enough for Virgo to pop in and out. Kanaloa, controlled Byro, emerges, causing further chaos. Natsu then battles Byro and his squishy octopus companion, with Lucy summoning Aquarius to counter the Ink attacks. Byro reveals the Legion's goal to prevent the Infinity Clock from bringing about the end of the world. Despite their arguments, Fairy Tail and the Legion remain at odds. Back at the Fairy Tail Guild, Kinana collapses with a mysterious ailment, hearing voices. The guild members, particularly Macao and Wakaba, are concerned but unsure of the cause. Meanwhile, in the underground ruins, Fairy Tail members continue their battle with Byro, who nullifies their magic. Coco intervenes, reminding Byro of the Legion's true purpose, but he responds violently. The Fairy Tail teams unite, each holding a clock part, and the clock pieces start glowing and assembling. The reborn Oración Seis, the Dark Guild, appears and a fierce battle ensues. The guild, now stronger and more organized, attacks with powerful magic, easily overpowering Fairy Tail. As the battle rages on, it becomes clear that Oración Seis intends to use the Infinity Clock for their own purpose. The Magic Council learns of their resurgence and plans to investigate further. Meanwhile, Fairy Tail, along with allies like Lyon and Michelle, are rescued by Ichiya and taken to the Blue Pegasus building. The reborn Oración Seis are using the Infinity Clock to destroy churches, while the Fairy Tail Guild discusses their next move to stop them. Lucy questions her father's connections to the clock, and Urza emphasizes the importance of retrieving it. The guild is then interrupted by the Thunder God tribe, who report sightings of Grim Reaper and Racer, confirming their involvement in the church destruction. Cobra and Angel attack a church using sound magic, while at the guild, Kanana exhibits strange behavior and carves ancient symbols into the wall, which Levi translates, revealing a connection to Will Neville, a powerful celestial mage. The Legion Corps introduce a new member, Gutman Kubrick, who possesses rupture magic. Meanwhile, LaPointe, another mage, blames the council for the Oración Seis breakout. Kanana's strange behavior continues, hinting at an impending disaster. Lucy then researches Will Neville, finding his connection to the Zentopia Church, but lacking information about his disciples. Kana offers to use her fortune telling to locate the Oración Seis and assigns teams to confront them. Natsu's team struggles against Jackpot's slot magic, while Wendy and Bixlow face Aragorn, who has lost his memory. Kajil and Juvia encounter Gutman, and after a tough battle manage to defeat him. Gildarts and Lackey discovers the real Michelle Lobster, revealing that the Michelle with Lucy is actually a fake. The Magic Council then learns that Oración Seis are targeting celestial spirit mages and not just churches. Natsu then defeats Jackpot and the Infinity Clock transforms into its true form, signaling a greater danger. Byro reveals that Lucy must be taken to Zentopia Cathedral, and a member of the reborn Oración Seis, Clodoa, is revealed. Michelle is exposed as an imposter named Imitatia, setting the stage for the next confrontation. As blue lights illuminate the sky, Kanana finds Cobra injured after his battle with Urza. She asks if he has been calling her, surprising Cobra. He realizes Kanana is Cubelios in human form. Cobra explains he lost his eye for greater magic power and reveals his real name is Eric. Before their conversation continues, Lahar and Doranbolt arrive to arrest Cobra. Kanana, distraught, pleads for freedom. Cobra then agrees to go quietly, denying he was calling anyone. As he leaves, Cobra implies he did call her, and they smile at each other, acknowledging their bond. Natsu then wakes up atop Kanaloa, realizing the group is searching for Lucy. He detects her scent and flies off with a pink octopus. Spotting Lucy falling among blue stars, Natsu catches her before she hits the ground. Later, Lucy reflects on her adventure with the clock, repairs a painting in her father's mansion, and takes the Imitatia doll back to her apartment, planning to write a book about her journey. At the Zentopia Church, the Archbishop urges repentance and renewal. Macao and Wakaba complain about being the only guild members at the ceremony. Meanwhile, the Legion Corps apologizes to Fairy Tail at their guild hall, leading to a celebration. Lahar informs Doranbolth that celestial spirit mages have awakened from the anti-link spell, but lost their powers. Relieved, Doranbolth is happy. Fairy Tail survived the Infinity Clock events. Natsu and Dan then have an eating contest, leading to chaos as Sugar Boy tries to approach Gray, but is stopped by Juvia. Coco then apologizes to Panther Lily for her hostility, and they spar for fun. Gildarts and Byro bond over drinks, discussing the changes since the Infinity Clock events, and Lucy reconciles with Mary Hughes, who apologizes for her actions. Byro then reveals the Legion Corps' new mission to seal the Infinity Clock parts, and they bid farewell to the Fairy Tail Guild before leaving town. The Grand Magic Games Arc. Fairy Tail's core members return to find their guild at its lowest rank in Fior, while Sabretooth has risen to the top. Natsu sees this as a chance to reclaim their status. Meanwhile, Makarov reveals Fairy Tail's greatest secret, Lumen Histoire, to Gildarts and asks him to become the next guildmaster. However, Gildarts declines and leaves a note suggesting Laxus return to the guild. Two Dragon Slayers from Sabretooth, Sting and Rogue, who are talking about Natsu and Gajeel, easily defeat an attacker. They are eager to face Natsu. At the same time, Natsu struggles in a spar with Max, showing that the returning members need to strengthen their magic. Seeking help, Natsu and friends visit Porliusica, who eventually provides Wendy with notes on Sky Dragon Slayer magic. At the Fairy Tail Guild, Romeo suggests participating in the Grand Magic Games, a competition where the winner is named the strongest guild in Fior. Despite past failures, Makarov agrees to enter. The guild members begin rigorous training to prepare for the games. Lucy then trains with Capricorn, and the group enjoys a brief celebration in the celestial spirit world before realizing they've lost 3 months of training time. Other guilds, including Raventail, are also preparing for the games, with Ivan Dreyer aiming to crush Fairy Tail. Urza declares intense training for the remaining days. The team is then surprised when Crimson Sorcerer, led by Jalal, offers to help by unlocking their second origin to increase their magic power. Despite the painful process, the team agrees. Urza and Jalal then share a moment where they almost kiss, but Jalal pulls back, lying about having fiancé to keep their relationship professional. As the Grand Magic Games approach, the team feels the effects of their enhanced powers, but remains nervous. They reach Crocus, the capital where the games will be held. Despite taunts from others about their weakness, they prepare to compete. The tournament begins with a preliminary event, the Sky Labyrinth. Fairy Tail barely makes it into the final 8. Meanwhile, Lizana and Happy find Wendy's bag, hinting at her mysterious disappearance. The Grand Magic Games begin, and Team Fairy Tail discusses the large crowd and their uniforms before noticing Wendy, who is exhausted and can't remember what happened. Elfman takes her place, and Porliusica promises to cure her. Outside, former Magic Council member Yajima joins Chapati Lola as a commentator. Team Fairy Tail is booed by the crowd, but Mavis appears, surprising everyone. Teams Quattro Cerberus, Mermaid Heel, Blue Pegasus, and Lamia Scale arrive next, followed by the newly legitimate Team Raventail. Makarov is shocked that Raventail is now an official guild and suspects they attacked Wendy and Carla. As 2 more teams are expected, the crowd is surprised when Team Fairy Tail B arrives, including Laxus, Mira Jane, Gajeel, Juvia, and Mustogan, who is actually Jalal in disguise. The rules allow 2 teams from each guild, and the commentators debate if this gives Fairy Tail an unfair advantage. The first game begins, and Gray represents Team Fairy Tail A, while Juvia represents Team Fairy Tail B. The game involves finding and attacking opponents in a city of clones. Raventail targets Gray and Juvia saves him, but both are attacked by Null Pudding. Rufus from Sabretooth uses his memory make magic to take the lead. The game ends with Sabretooth in the lead and both Fairy Tail teams in last place. Gray vows to get back at Raventail and Sabretooth. In the first battle, Lucy from Team Fairy Tail A fights Flare from Raventail. Flare plays dirty by taking Asuka hostage, but Natsu saves her and Lucy summons Gemini to free herself. However, Lucy's spell is interrupted and Flare is declared the victor. The matches continue with Ren from Blue Pegasus winning against Arena from Mermaid Heel and Orga from Sabretooth defeating Warcry from Quattro Cerberus. The final battle of the day between Mustogan, aka Jalal, and Jura from Lamia Scale commences. Jalal uses his own magic but is knocked out by Miridi and Altair to prevent him from revealing his true identity. Thus, Jura wins. Fairy Tail then regroups and Makarov encourages them not to give up. The second day's event, Chariot, involves racing through Crocus on moving wagons. Bacchus and Quattro Cerberus wins, followed by Kurohybe from Raventail and Risley from Mermaid Heel. Natsu and Gajeel, despite motion sickness, also push through, with Natsu finishing 6th and Gajeel 7th. Sting from Sabretooth ultimately finishes last. In the second day's battle, Elfman from Fairy Tail A faces Bacchus. Elfman wins, earning their first victory. Meanwhile, Natsu rescues Wendy, Carla, and Porliuska from kidnappers. Mira Jane from Fairy Tail A wins a swimsuit contest turned battle against Jenny from Blue Pegasus. The final battle of the day sees Kagura from Mermaid Heel defeating Yukino from Sabretooth. Despite their challenges, Team Fairy Tail remains determined to make a comeback in the Grand Magic Games. Moving ahead, Urza reunites with her old friend Miliana from Team Mermaid Heel, and they share an emotional hug. At Sabretooth's lodging, their guild master, Gemma, excommunicates Yukino after her loss. Later, Yukino visits Natsu's group and offers Lucy 2 Celestial Spirit Keys. Lucy refuses, and Yukino explains her situation, making Natsu angry. Meanwhile, Urza and Gray discuss their concerns, and at Mercutius, Arcadios talks about his plans involving the 12 keys. Natsu then attacks Sabretooth's lodging to confront Gemma for mistreating Yukino. Gemma fights Natsu, but Minerva intervenes, forcing Natsu to retreat. On the third day of the games, Urza fights all 100 monsters in Pandemonium and wins. Kana then breaks the Magic Power Finder device with Fairy Glitter. In the battle rounds, Miliana wins against Semis, and Laxus defeats Raventail, revealing a plot by his father Ivan. Wendy and Sharia from Lamia Scale tie in their match, and Jalal, still disguised as Mustogan, searches for a source of malicious magic but is stopped by the Magic Council. Yajima helps Jalal escape by convincing the council that he is Mustogan from Edolas. Elsewhere at a water park, Fairy Tail and the other guilds relax and bond. Flair apologizes to Lucy for her previous actions, and on day 4 of the Magic Games begins with the naval battle event. Minerva cruelly defeats Lucy, angering Natsu and Gray. Lucy is healed, and Makarov announces that Fairy Tail will merge into one team for the rest of the competition. The tag battles are announced, with Fairy Tail set to fight Sabretooth next. The audience now supports Fairy Tail, and Arcadius plans to claim Lucy. Darden recalls the Grand Magic Games history, once called the Dragon King Festival. The tag battles then begin, and Ichia and Nichia win against Quattro Puppy. The next fight, Lamia Scale vs Mermaid Heel, ends in a draw. The final battle between Fairy Tail and Sabretooth is now about to begin. As the battle starts, Igneel watches to see Wislogia and Skyadrum's students have surpassed dragons. He mentions that the Dragon King Festival is near, and it's time for action. Chapati announces the third and final tag battle of the day as Natsu, Gajeel, Sting, and Rogue face off. Fairy Tail members support their Dragon Slayers, while Gemma is confident in Sabretooth's victory. When the battle starts, Natsu and Gajeel land the first hits on Sting and Rogue, surprising the audience with their power. Sting claims they defeated their dragon parents and activates White Drive, while Rogue activates Shadow Drive. They go on the offensive, but are pushed back by Natsu and Gajeel. Sting then tells Rogue to step back, claiming he can win alone. He attacks Natsu and Gajeel, sending them into a mine. Despite Sting's powerful attacks, Natsu and Gajeel get back up. Sting and Rogue then use Dragon Force, thinking they have won. However, Natsu and Gajeel reveal they were studying Sting's moves and continue to fight. Natsu taunts Sting and Rogue, inviting them to attack him together. Sting enters Dragon Force again and attacks, but Natsu fights back using his power for his friends. Natsu counters their unison raid with his own spell, causing a large explosion. The twin dragons collapse, acknowledging Natsu's strength. Team Fairy Tail wins and moves to first place in the games. As Fairy Tail celebrates their victory, Chapati announces a break day before the 6th day of the games, which will feature a survival game. Sabretooth's members are excited, but Gemma is furious, scaring the audience away. Natsu tells his opponents he wants to fight again, while Rogue realizes he overestimated himself. Meanwhile, Gajeel, after his cart stops, finds a dragon graveyard under the Domus Flow. Elsewhere, Jalal closes in on a mysterious person, while Yukino marvels at Natsu's strength. She expresses her willingness to join the Eclipse plan, believing it will save the world. Carla has a vision of Mercurius collapsing, but denies anything is wrong. In the infirmary, Team Shadowgear celebrates, wondering about Gajeel. Levi narrates a future scene where she mourns loved ones lost to fate. As Jalal corners the mysterious person who reveals herself as a woman, shocking him, elsewhere, Sting and Rogue face Gemma, who demand they remove their guild marks for showing weakness. Gemma vaporizes Lecter, infuriating Sting, who then pierces Gemma's chest with a powerful attack. Minerva reveals she saved Lecter and tells Sting he must win Day 5's events to get him back. Skipping ahead, Gajeel leads the Fairy Tail members to the Dragon Graveyard. Wendy uses Milky Way to communicate with dragon spirits and finds Zecronus, who explains dragon history and the rise of Acnologia. Arcadius and Yukino arrive, revealing the Eclipse plan, which aims to travel back in time to stop Zareth, a dark mage. However, the Royal Guard arrest them for treason. Darden tells Fairy Tail that winning the Grand Magic Games can gain them an audience with the king to request Lucy's freedom. On the final day of the Grand Magic Games, two major conflicts unfold. Natsu's group learns that Lucy has been arrested, and they debate their next move. Natsu plans to rescue Lucy, but Makarov advises caution, suggesting they act wisely against their enemies. Meanwhile, Lucy and Yukino are imprisoned together. Lucy is worried about the Eclipse plan, which Yukino supports because she wants to change the past to bring back her lost sister. Lucy wonders if it's even possible to alter history. The sixth day of the games introduces the Grand Magic War Game. The Fairy Tail team participates, but Natsu is missing. Juvia replaces him in the tournament, while Natsu, Wendy, Mira Jane, and the Exceeds head for the castle to rescue Lucy. Makarov reveals this strategy to divert attention from their rescue mission. The rescue team comes up with a plan, with Mira Jane already having a strategy in place. At the tournament, Fairy Tail's members stay put, confusing everyone. Mavis, the guild's tactician, guides them to victory with a well-thought-out plan. Meanwhile, the rescue team faces numerous challenges from the Garu Knights, who are elite executors working for the kingdom. The team struggles, but eventually overcomes their foes with teamwork and determination. Back at the castle, the team rescues Lucy and Yukino, but falls into a trap called Abyss Palace. They encounter future Lucy, who has traveled from the future using the Eclipse machine. She warns them about the future and advises them to meet Jalal to further strategize. As they prepare to escape, they face more dangers, including the Garu Knights. During the games, Urza fights Kagura and Minerva. Kagura reveals her tragic past involving her brother and expresses hatred towards Jalal. Urza then defends herself and manages to defeat Kagura, but Minerva intervenes, causing further conflict. Minerva also captures Miliana to provoke Urza. In the midst of the battles, Gajeel faces Rogue, who is controlled by a dark force. Gajeel overcomes this shadowy adversary, earning a point for Fairy Tail. As the tournament progresses, Urza and Kagura's fight concludes with Urza's victory, though Kagura is severely wounded. Minerva's treachery and the chaotic battles add to the intense atmosphere of the games. The rescue team now preparing to escape Abyss Palace and confront the challenges ahead, while Princess Hizui considers her next moves. Urza then asks if anyone has seen a signal from the rescue team, but no one has. Sting questions why Natsu isn't participating, and Gray prayers for the team's safety. Inside the castle, the rescue team fights against guards and Garu Knights. Suddenly, shadows attack and pull the enemies into darkness, confusing the team. Jalal realizes that future Lucy arrived a day earlier than predicted, suggesting that someone else with dark magic is involved. Arcadius catches up with Hizui and Darton, apologizing and giving Hizui his sword. He questions her about the prediction of a bad future and learns it was a man, not a girl, who made the prediction. Meanwhile, the rescue team hears someone approaching, and Rogue Cheney, claiming to be from the future, reveals himself. He explains he has come to make sure the Eclipse Gate is open to defeat attacking dragons and to kill someone who prevented this in the future. Future Rogue attacks Lucy, but her future counterpart intercepts the attack and dies. Lucy's friends are devastated. Future Rogue continues to believe Lucy will cause doom and attacks again, but Natsu intervenes and vows to protect the future. Lucy and her group then attempt to close the Eclipse Gate, which connects their time to an earlier era. Despite her efforts and Hisui's doubts, Lucy struggles against the powers of the dragons that come through the gate. The mages and Crocus fight against dragons summoned by Future Rogue. Natsu then joins the battle, surprising everyone by eating the flames of Atlas Flame, a dragon. Natsu and Atlas Flame team up to fight Mother Glare, another dragon. Future Rogue then reveals his goal is to become the Dragon King by opening the gate to gather dragons and defeat Acnologia, the Dragon King of his future. As Future Rogue's plans unfold, Natsu and the other mages fight hard to protect their world. Meanwhile, Rogue Cheney struggles with his future self's plans and joins forces with Sting to fight their dragons. Altair grapples with her own moral dilemmas, deciding she might need to kill Rogue to fix the future. In a tragic moment, Gray sacrifices himself to protect the others, taking a fatal hit from Mother Glare's minions. His sacrifice leaves his friends in sorrow, and Altair questions her own actions and worthiness to live. The battle continues as Fairy Tail and their allies fight against overwhelming odds to secure their future. With Gray, Batrus, and Droy badly injured, and Macao trapped, Altair, feeling regretful but despite getting a second chance from Gray, decides to use a dangerous spell to reverse time. As she casts the spell, she severely burns herself, but only manages to turn back time by 1 minute. The mages, now aware of this brief future, use this knowledge to counterattack their enemies, including the dragons and Future Rogue. Natsu fights Future Rogue and Mother Glare in the sky. He pushes them into the Eclipse Gate, breaking it and sending them back to their own time. The dragons disappear and Natsu thanks Atlas Flame. Mages then celebrate their victory, though they realize they did not actually defeat the dragons. At the final celebration, Natsu unexpectedly declares himself the new king. Jalal and Meredy learn that Altair has left a farewell letter, and Gray discovers that the old woman they saw was Altair. The Fairy Tail mages then return to a joyous Magnolia, where their guild building is restored. Meanwhile, Zareth, who is planning to destroy the world, vows to fight Fairy Tail in the future. The Eclipse Celestial Spirits Arc. Lucy Artfilia and Yukino Agra, along with Natsu and Happy, visit the Hill of the Stars to thank their celestial spirits for helping close the Eclipse Gate during the Grand Magic Games and the Dragon Invasion. They grant each Zodiac spirit a wish, but when they get to Aquarius, she demands Lucy make her laugh. After some comedic failures, Lucy's misadventure, hanging from a cliff branch, finally amuses Aquarius, who then reminisces about their shared past under the stars. Later, Natsu, Lucy, and Happy find the Fairy Tail Guild Hall empty, as everyone is busy dealing with natural disasters. Mira Jane gives Lucy a job, save for her. However, on arrival, they are attacked by a sea slug. Natsu defeats it, but Lucy discovers her golden keys are not working. Meanwhile, Yukino faces the same issue. Lucy manages to summon Crux, who warns them of trouble in the celestial spirit world. Virgo and the other spirits then attack Lucy and her friends, and Natsu fights them but is forced to retreat with Lucy and Happy. Back at the guild, Lucy summons Crux and Horologium to find out the Spirit King is missing, and the gold key spirits are causing havoc. Yukino presents a tome that reveals a ritual called Liberum is needed for the spirit's perfect freedom, but requires a mystic globe. The Fairy Tail members then split into teams to gather information, with Natsu's team heading to the Magic Library. Natsu then hitches a ride to the Celestial Spirit World to confront Leo. Natsu's arrival leads to a battle with a stronger Taurus who doesn't recognize Lucy. Meanwhile, at the Magic Library, Lucy's group is attacked by Virgo. Lucy and the others find clues leading to the mystical globe, but Virgo steals it. Levi then finds out that completing the Liberum ritual will cost the spirits their lives after 12 days. Hizui and Arcadius, on their way to inform Fairy Tail, mention the Eclipse Door caused the spirits change. They present new celestial keys to close the spirit gates. On their way to the Astral Spiritus, Natsu's group is attacked by Pisces. Natsu fights the sun, while the others take on the mother. Pisces escapes with fake keys, but Hizui still has the real ones. At the Astral Spiritus, the Zodiac spirits begin their ritual as Natsu's group interrupts. Leo then reveals they know the ritual's cost, but proceeds anyway. The Fairy Tail members follow the spirits into different dimensions to close their gates. Each Fairy Tail member faces a spirit in a unique battle, and Elfman uses Taurus' Sphere of Germs to win. Natsu's fight with Leo involves a dramatic clash, with Natsu ultimately defeating Leo and closing his gate. Despite this, the Liberum continues. The Sun Village Arc. After returning from the Grand Magic Games, the Fairy Tail girls happily use their new bathhouse, teasing each other about their relationships, especially Lucy. They are surprised to find Flare Corona of Raventail bathing with them. Flare explains she has nowhere to go after Raventail's disbandment, but doesn't intend to join Fairy Tail either. Lucy returns home to find Urza, Wendy, and Carla with candy from their mission. They wonder where Natsu and Gray are and head to their mission site, finding them arguing. Urza tries to stop their fight, but gets punched by both. Angry, she punishes them and takes them back to the guild, where Makarov gives them a mission from Warad Sequin, the 4th rank wizard saint. Natsu and Gray meet Warad, who tells them about the Sun Village frozen in ice. He asks them to save the village, and they accept, traveling there with Warad's magic. They find the village frozen, including its giant inhabitants. Treasure hunters from Sylph Labyrinth appear, searching for the village's eternal flame. The fairy tale members then chase after them, while Minerva, now in Succubus Eye, plans her next move. Natsu and the team battle the treasure hunters for a moon drip bottle, but it is destroyed, revealing voices underground. Natsu and his friends then find a man who turns Natsu into a child. Meanwhile, Urza, also turned into a child, encounters Minerva. Lucy, Wendy, and Flair continue their search, battling the treasure hunters again. Flair saves Lucy and Wendy, revealing the Sun Village is her home. Gray then fights Dorian, who reverts him into a child, but Gray defeats him. Dorian then transforms everyone into children before being eaten by a monster. After this, Natsu meets Lucy, Wendy, and Flair, and they follow Flair to the Eternal Flame. Gray then unfreezes the flame, revealing the dragon Atlas Flame. Atlas tells Natsu about the Ice Devil Slayer, who froze the village and warns about End, a powerful evil magic. Atlas then disappears and the village thaws. The fairy tale members discuss the village's freezing, and Flair feels guilty for leaving the village but is welcomed back by the giants. Minerva returns to find Succubus Eye's headquarters destroyed and encounters Kyoka from the guild Tartaros 9 Demon Gates. The fairy tale members then report back to Warad, who rewards them with a trip to a secret hot spring. Warad then reveals that he is one of the founders of Fairy Tail, and Natsu asks about End and the Slayer Devils, to which Warad warns them that Tartaros, a dark guild, are in possession of the books of Zareth, the Dark Mage, and Natsu now vows to defeat them. The Tartaros Arc. In the Magic Council headquarters, the members discuss Fairy Tail's recent victory in the Grand Magic Games. Chairman Grand Doma shifts the conversation to Tartaros and reveals that guilds associated with them have been wiped out. Org suggests Tartaros is to blame. Grand Doma believes it is possible and urges the council to take a stand. Suddenly, a messenger warns of an imminent threat. An explosion destroys the building. Dornbolt finds the council members lifeless and sees Jackal of the 9 Demon Gates, who prepares to kill Org with an explosion. Org then tells Dornbolt to escape, which he does just before Org dies in the explosion. Meanwhile, at Fairy Tail's guild, business continues as usual. Makarov is surprised to hear Minerva has joined a dark guild, and Juvia's attempts to bake bread buns. After this, the other mages learn about Zareth's strongest demon, End, and Natsu suggests attacking Tartaros to find clues, which Kajil supports. Jet and Droid then return in a panic, announcing something terrible has happened. At the ruins of the council headquarters, medics arrive and Dornbolt visits Cobra in his prison cell, asking for information about Tartaros. Cobra demands the release of his comrades in exchange, and instead he reveals that all Tartaros members are demons from the books of Zareth, and their master is End. Meanwhile, the 9 Demon Gates prepare to bring despair upon humanity. At 8 Island Restaurant, Fried, Bixlow, and Yajima learn about the attack on the Magic Council, and a hooded figure destroys the establishment and Laxus intervenes to fight. The hooded figure reveals himself as Tempster of the 9 Demon Gates. Laxus overpowers and defeats him, but Tempester unleashes magical barrier particles, causing magic deficiency and illness. Laxus inhales the particles to save the others, and the affected mages are treated, and Freed informs Makarov that Laxus saved the town, though many still died. Natsu then declares it's time to go to war. Elsewhere, Kyoka monitors Minerva's transformation into a demon. Back with Fairy Tail, Natsu wants to attack the Dark Guild but lacks direction. Makarov and Urza then agree they need more information, and Loki reveals the locations of the retired council members. Fairy Tail then splits into groups to protect them and find out more about Tartaros. Porliuska requests a sample of Tempester's blood, and the team splits up to guard the ex-council members. Natsu, Lucy, Wendy, Happy, and Carla then guard Michello. Michello's home is then destroyed by an explosion. Jackal then appears, but Natsu consumes the explosion, preventing any casualties. Jackal creates a town-wide explosion, and then Natsu eats the explosion. Jackal then reveals he has a curse. Whatever touches him explodes. Natsu is then put out of commission, and Jackal threatens Michele's safety. Wendy and Lucy try to stop Jackal, but fail as he reveals Tartaros uses curses, not magic. Jackal traps Michele and a pregnant woman in bomb orbs, forcing Lucy to choose who to save. Natsu then arrives and frees the captives. After this, Natsu defeats Jackal, who turns himself into a bomb. Happy then carries Jackal's body into the sky before he can detonate, saving everybody. Makarov then receives news about the counselors he sent mages to protect, all negative. Elfman and Lizana find Yuri dead, but Sarah uses a curse to force Elfman to choke Lizana. Michele then explains Tartaros is after Face, a weapon that nullifies magic. After this, it's revealed that 3 counselors are the organic link key, and only the former chairman knows their locations. Urza and Mary Jane then meet the ex-chairman Crawford Seam. As intruders approach and the girls prepare to battle, Elfman tries to sell his soul to Sarah to save Lizana. Dornbolt vows to destroy Tartaros, and Cobra earns the release of the Oración Seis. Natsu discovers the chairman drugged Urza and Mira Jane and brought them to Tartaros. Natsu then destroys the chairman's house and flies off. Urza awakens captive by Kyoka, who asks for Jalal's location. Jalal, then entering the fray, fights the Oración Seis, but Zero mortally wounds him. Back at Fairy Tail, Happy informs everyone of Mira Jane, Urza, and Natsu's capture and Crawford's betrayal. Elfman then prepares to destroy Fairy Tail to save Lizana. Elfman recalls Sarah's command to destroy Fairy Tail in exchange for Lizana's return, and at the Tartaros headquarters, Natsu and Lizana are imprisoned and try to escape. Jalal then blinds himself to escape Midnight's nightmare and defeat the Oración Seis, asking them to join Crime Sorcerer. Crawford then transfers Jalal's organic link to himself, but Kyoka kills him, unsealing Face. The explosive lacrima in Elfman's possession then detonates, destroying the guild's building. Urza then defeats Yakdoriga and confronts Kyoka. The explosion in Magnolia alarms everyone, but Kyoka, part of the Tartaros Guild, remains confident. When Franmouth senses a massive group approaching, they realize it's Fairy Tail, carried by the Xyz. Canna had saved the guild by using her magic cars to transport them. Fairy Tail then launches their counterattack. Natsu and Lizana escape their cells and ambush Kyoka, while Urza, now freed, confronts her. After a fierce battle, Urza overpowers Kyoka. Meanwhile, Fairy Tail fights Tartaros' minions. Urza's breakthrough allows Fairy Tail to breach the Dark Guild's fortress, and Natsu encounters Zareth, who praises Natsu but leaves, hinting that he'll see him again in the future. Fairy Tail then fights to deactivate Face, a dangerous device. As Wendy reaches Face, she's attacked by Izel. Despite being wounded, Wendy activates her Dragon Force, gaining immense power. She defeats Izel and destroys Face, but the countdown continues. Dornbolt then saves Wendy and Carla just in time, and they destroy Face's control system. Back at Tartaros, Franmouth goes berserk but is defeated by Natsu. Mira Jane then fights Sarah, overcoming her threats and saving her brother Elfman. Hades' soul then warns that Tartaros seeks more than just activating Face, hinting at deeper plans. As the battle rages on, Mardgeir, Tartaros' leader, uses Allegria, transforming their base into a monstrous creature. Fairy Tail is then trapped, but Lucy, determined, fights back as she summons Aquarius and, with great sorrow, sacrifices her key to summon the Celestial Spirit King. The king then destroys Pluto Grim and confronts Mardgeir. Lucy, empowered by the Spirit King, defeats Jackal with Uranometria. This frees Fairy Tail, and the battle resumes. The Celestial Spirit King then expels Allegria, freeing everyone. As Tartaros minions converge on Lucy, Fairy Tail arrives to protect her. The story continues with intense battles and the ongoing struggle against Tartaros. Eventually, Juvia manages to destroy Keys, who was controlling Crawford Seam, and ends the Face activation project. However, Silver, revealed to be Gray's father, and now a Tartaros demon, fights Gray. Silver admits he was resurrected by Keys and intends to kill Gray. Gray, using his new Ice Devil Slayer magic, eventually defeats Silver. After this, Juvia is faced with a tough choice. She decides to destroy Keys to stop the Face project, despite knowing this will lead to Silver's death. Keyes reveals he was aware of Silver's plans to rebel, and Juvia managed to defeat Keyes from the inside, but Silver's death leaves Gray deeply affected. Gray learns that Silver was truly indeed his father, but his final moments bring no resolution as he must now focus on defeating Tartaros. Elsewhere, Natsu and Gajeel prepare to face the remaining enemies. Tora Fuzar and Tempester challenge them, but Gajeel is revived by Levi's quick thinking. They manage to fight back and defeat Tora Fuzar, and as the battle continues, Acnologia, the Dragon King, arrives, causing chaos. Igneel, revealed to be inside Natsu, then emerges to fight Acnologia. Natsu is then tasked with stealing En's book from Mardgear in exchange for answers about Igneel. In the midst of the chaos, Kyoka emerges with Face and destroys Urza's armor. She uses her curse to amplify her strength and inflict immense pain. Despite this, Urza fights through the pain and defeats Kyoka with a powerful strike. However, Kyoka's final act causes the Face timer to reach 0, leading to a dangerous situation as the magic pulse bomb activates, threatening everyone. By this point, Natsu, Sting, and Rogue face off against the demon Mardgear. Natsu struggles against Mardgear, who skillfully dodges his attacks, but just when it seems like Natsu might be defeated, Sting and Rogue arrive to help. They suggest teaming up, but Natsu refuses, wanting to take down Mardgear alone for Igneel's sake. Instead, they turn the fight into a competition. Working together, they exploit Mardgear's weaknesses, but Mardgear becomes even angrier and stronger. As the fight intensifies, Elfman, Lizana, Jet, Droy, and Warren defeat some clones while Lucy catches up with them and informs them about other battles and threats of 3,000 face bombs. Mardgear then overpowers the Dragon Slayers and continues to attack with his powerful magic. Makarov then reveals a secret weapon, Lumen Histoire, which is Mavis's body encased in a crystal. Gray then arrives just in time with Natsu's scarf and starts battling Mardgear. Despite Gray's efforts, Giemma, a demonized former guildmaster, intervenes and fights Sting and Rogue. They manage to defeat him, and Gray and Natsu turn their attention back on Mardgear. Mardgear then uses his ultimate curse, Memento Mori, which erases existence itself. However, Gray manages to protect Natsu by partially demonizing himself, but falls, leaving Natsu to fight. Natsu, filled with anger, enters Dragon Force and battles Mardgear. With his new strength, Natsu lands a powerful blow, but Mardgear is not defeated. Gray, recovering, finishes Mardgear with his Ice Devil Zeroth destruction bow. Mardgear realizes too late that Kyoka has set the face bomb's timer to 0, and the dragons, like Gardini and Metallicana, destroy the face bombs. Igneel then reveals that he and the dragons were hiding inside of their children to avoid becoming dragons like Acnologia. In the end, Acnologia kills Igneel, leaving Natsu devastated. The dragons, now fading away, say goodbye and promise to protect humanity again. In the aftermath, Makarov announces the end of their era, and members like Gray and Natsu deal with their personal losses and new beginnings. Juvia helps Gray, Maneuver returns to Sabretooth, and Makarov reveals his past to Dornbolt before deciding to disband Fairy Tail. 1 week later, Gray thanks Juvia for freeing his father's spirit, while Natsu and Happy search for money, but find more pressing concerns. Elsewhere, Zareth, holding the Book of End, vows to surpass his greatest creation, Aetherius Natsu Dragneel, revealing that Natsu is actually End. Meanwhile, back in the wilderness, Natsu and Happy reunite with Gildarts, who is surprised by their presence. They have a playful interaction, and Gildarts helps Natsu escape an animal, leading them to spar. Afterward, they accidentally switch their bags, leading to a comical fight over each other's items. The Zero Arc. In the year X679, a young Mavis reads a book in her guild, Red Lizard. Her master, Z-Sylph, catches her and scolds her for not doing her cleaning duties. He hits her, knocks the book from her hands, and mocks her hobby of reading. He also demands she return the shoes he bought for her, saying she's unworthy of them. Despite Mavis pleading that they are her only pair, the master insists she return them. Later, as Mavis cleans, Zara returns from school and rejects the shoes her father offers, calling them dirty and unfit for her. Mavis remembers how she was brought to the guild to work off her parents' debt. Suddenly, an explosion rocks the guild as Blue Skull invades. Mavis finds Zara trapped under rubble and rescues her. Despite Zara's initial reluctance due to her previous cruelty, Mavis insists on saving her. They escape, but Zera collapses. Mavis then returns to the village to find everyone killed in the invasion. 7 years later, in the year X686, a group of treasure hunters arrive on the island. Warad mentions the serene mood of the land, but Prit reminds him they are there to find the Tenrou Jade. Yuri then wakes up, confident they are in the right place. Mavis, now 13, gleefully sits on a tree branch, but Zera reminds her that they have to clean the library. Mavis prefers being barefoot, which makes Zera sad as she recalls her past cruelty towards her. Mavis then reassures her that they're still friends. They have been the only survivors of the war with Blue Skull, living together in peace on the island. While cleaning the library, Zera notices someone approaching and hides. Mavis meets Yuri, who is then surprised to find people living on the island. He admits he is searching for the Tenrou Jade, but Mavis tells him it is a sacred relic. Yuri proposes a game of wits to win the right to search for the Jade, and Mavis accepts, confident that she'll win. She easily outsmarts Yuri, who realizes he is lost. Pret and Warad then find Yuri and head to the Jade's pedestal, only to find it missing. Mavis suspects Blue Skull already stole it and asks to join the treasure hunters to retrieve it. Yuri reluctantly agrees. In Hargan Town, Mavis and Pret gather information on Blue Skull. They face an ambush, but Mavis manages to fend off their attackers, using her illusion magic to scare the bartender into revealing Blue Skull's location. The group then heads to Magnolia, where Blue Skull is based. On the way, they camp and share stories. Mavis reassures a nervous Zera by the water, and they play together, solidifying their bond. They arrive in Magnolia to find it under attack by a skeletal dragon. Mavis then concludes that it is controlled by Blue Skull. The group is then attacked by Blue Skull mages. Mavis uses illusion magic to summon soldiers and demands to see their master. Jeffrey, the master, then orders his soldiers to attack, revealing Mavis's soldiers are just illusions. Yuri attacks with a crystal bomb, but it backfires, injuring him. Warad then escapes with the injured Yuri and Pret to the forest. Mavis, desperate to help, encounters a mysterious young mage in the forest. He reveals that he is cursed, but Mavis' illusions do not harm him. She asks him to teach her magic to fight Blue Skull, and he offers to teach her the black arts, which she agrees to learn. This mysterious mage being none other than a young Zareth. Mavis then introduces him to the group, and he teaches them new magic. They plan to liberate Magnolia from Blue Skull, and Warad distracts Jeffrey while Mavis creates an illusion of a burning town. Jeffrey realizes it's a trick, but finds himself captured. Mavis informs him that Yuri and Pret are defeating his members and have found the Tenrou Jade. Jeffrey warns that touching the Jade could only bring disaster. Yuri, now in possession of the Jade, refuses to believe Mavis's warning about its powers. The Jade then possesses Yuri, transforming him into a skeletal dragon. Mavis uses her magic to fight him, but cannot reach him. She decides to use the spell law, which cancels all evil. Even though it is incomplete and dangerous, Zera tries to stop her, but Mavis is determined. She successfully casts the spell, freeing Yuri and destroying the Jade, but collapses. Yuri then wakes up and learns from Warad and Pret that Mavis used an incomplete spell, halting her growth and making her unable to age forever. Yuri then finds Mavis and apologizes for his actions. Mavis forgives him, considering him her friend. Yuri then reveals that Zera is an illusion created by Mavis's mind after she died already 7 years ago, and Zera confirms this and says goodbye to Mavis for good, asking her to move on with her life. After Zera's departure, the group discusses Mavis' idea of creating a mage guild in Magnolia. They agree, and Mavis names the guild Fairy Tale, symbolizing endless adventure. They approach the Mage Council to approve the guild and start building relationships with the townspeople. Months later, they complete the guild, and Mavis becomes its first master. Jeffrey then vows to oppose them by creating the Phantom Lord Guild. As Mavis looks forward to the future, her memory of Zera watches over them, content. The Avatar Arc. Back in the present, a year after the battle with Tartaros and Fairy Tail's disbandment, Lucy works as an editor in training at Sorcerer Magazine. She covers the Grand Magic Games and searches for her friends, feeling unsure about what to do if she finds them. On the last day of the games, Lucy reports on the match between Team Dullahan Head and Team Scarmiglione. Despite predictions favoring Dullahan Head, Scarmiglione wins, which disappoints Lucy. Suddenly, a cloaked figure challenges the winners and reveals himself as Natsu. He defeats the guild members and greets Lucy, giving her hope that Fairy Tail isn't gone. After causing destruction at the stadium, Natsu and Happy meet Lucy and learn about Fairy Tail's disbandment. Lucy explains that Natsu was absent for a whole year. They go to her apartment where Natsu talks about his travels. Natsu and Happy then find Lucy's collection of information on their friends.
The next morning, royal soldiers surround Lucy's place because Natsu set a fiery message on the castle signaling Fairy Tail's revival. Lucy then reluctantly joins Natsu and Happy in fleeing the army. They arrive at Tully Village, where Natsu recognizes the clock tower he destroyed before. Natsu wants to destroy it again, but Lucy stops him. Frustrated by the lack of challenges, Natsu duels Lucy, but instead saves a carriage from thieves. Later, they plan their stop in Margaret Town, home of Lamia Scale, where Wendy now belongs. In Margaret Town, during Lamia Scale's Thanksgiving Day, Natsu and Lucy see Wendy and Shiria perform. Natsu wants Wendy back in Fairy Tail, but is confronted by Carla, who has taken a human form. Meanwhile, Orochi's Finn plans an attack. Natsu, Lucy, and Happy meet Wendy and Carla, but Wendy refuses to leave Lamia Scale. They learn about Juranikis joining the Magic Council and Makarov's unknown whereabouts. Orochi's Finn attacks Margaret Town with monsters, and Natsu, Lucy, and their friends defend the town. Natsu and Wendy then launch an aerial attack against the invaders, while Lucy uses her new Leo Star dress to fight. Wendy and Shiria confront Orochi's Finn's monster tamer, but face Blue Note Stinger. Natsu then arrives and defeats Blue Note, surprising everyone with his increased power. Natsu's strength intimidates Orochi's Finn, and they ultimately surrender. After the battle, Wendy decides to leave Lamia Scale and join Natsu, Lucy, and Happy in searching for the other Fairy Tail members. In Amifarashi Village, Juvia is depressed because of Gray's disappearance. Natsu, Lucy, and Wendy find her and learn that Gray left after black marks appeared on his body. Natsu then vows to bring Gray back. Elsewhere, a cult called Avatar plans to eliminate all non-Zeref loyalists. Gray, now part of Avatar, aims to get the Book of End. Natsu and his team head to Sabretooth to find Rogue, who has a request related to Avatar. Natsu then takes the request and rushes to confront them, suspecting that Gray might be involved. At Avatar's base, Natsu and Lucy sneak in but are captured. Gray appears and claims he's joined Avatar willingly. However, Urza reveals that she was investigating Avatar for the Magic Council and that Gray was also infiltrating the cult. Gray regrets not telling Juvia about his plan, and Natsu's team defends Malba City from Avatar's attack. Urza and the other former Fairy Tail members then defeat the cultists, and Natsu confronts and defeats Alok, who summons the battle god Ikusa Tsunagi. Natsu then destroys the battle god, impressing everyone with his immense power. With Avatar defeated, the Magic Council arrests all the cult members, and Natsu, Lucy, and their friends reunite with the other Fairy Tail members and prepare to rebuild the guild. In an unknown area elsewhere, Zeref reminisces about his past and plans a final battle with Acnologia. Natsu, Lucy, Wendy, Happy, and Carla then return to Magnolia to find the other OG Fairy Tail members. They gather at the old guild site where Natsu declares Fairy Tail's official revival, and Lucy sheds tears of happiness upon seeing everyone return. The Alvarez Arc. 5 days after the Fairy Tail Guild's restoration, members start building a new guild hall. They realize they need a guild master for legal purposes, and during a brawl, Urza breaks it up, leading Levy to appoint her as the 7th guild master. Mice Grider, a member few remember, reveals their former master is in danger. He takes Urza to the secret Lumen Histoire, with Team Natsu secretly following. Mest shares his mission from the Magic Council about the Alvarez Empire, which once tried to invade for Lumen Histoire, but was deterred by the Etherean and Face. After Fairy Tail's war with Tartaros, Ishgar had no defenses, prompting Makarov to disband the guild and negotiate with Alvarez to buy time. Urza then forms a team to rescue Makarov, overheard by Gajeel, who plans to reform Team B. Levy finalizes Fairy Tail's rebirth at the Magic Council and learns about the Alvarez Empire's threat and God Serena's defection to the Spriggan 12, Emperor Spriggan's elite guard. Urza's team then sails to Alakatasia, stopping at Carousel Island for supplies and information. They find Alvarez troops there and disguise themselves to get past the port authorities, but end up fighting to save a child. They then meet Brandish, a powerful Alvarez mage who shrinks the island to a pebble as a warning. After confirming Makarov's safety, they teleport to meet their spy, Sorano. In Vistarion, the capital of the Alvarez Empire, Makarov is shocked to see Zeref as the emperor. Zeref explains his plans to use Fairy Heart, also known as Lumen Histoire, to fight Acnologia and start a war. Mest rescues Makarov and teleports them back to the forest, where Team Natsu awaits. Agil, a Spriggan 12 member, attacks but is stopped by Laxus and Blue Pegasus. Everyone reunites, and Makarov is touched by their dedication. Back in Magnolia, the guild celebrates Makarov's return, making him the 8th master.
Makarov warns about Alvarez's impending attack, but Natsu assures him that they will fight. Mavis steps in to explain Lumen Histoire and her past with Zareth. She recounts their first meeting, her cursed immortality, and how their love led to her death, deepening Zareth's darkness. Zareth, heartbroken, returns Mavis to Fairy Tale, where Prech Gaebolg, later known as Hades, finds her. He tries to revive her but fails, realizing her curse keeps her between life and death. He creates the myth of her death and becomes the second guildmaster. Later, Mavis reveals that Zareth seeks Fairy Heart to fight Acnologia. Natsu, determined to defeat Zareth, unveils a secret technique he believes can finally kill him. Meanwhile, Acnologia prepares for war. In Vistarion, Marin Hollow, shrunken in size, cares for Brandish Pedicure, while Demaria Yesta informs Brandish about the gathering of the Spriggan 12. In Fairy Tale, Natsu reveals his secret technique, boosting morale for everyone. Makarov then shares intel about Spriggan 12 members, including Invel, Agil, Demaria, Brandish, God Serena, August, Wal Edo, Bloodman, and Nineheart. Zareth, planning a full-scale invasion on Ishgard, aims to capture Lumen Histoire and annihilate Ishgard. Meanwhile, Lucy reminisces about Fairy Heart, the reason behind Alvarez's invasion, and her duty to protect it. Natsu and Happy visit her, and Natsu recalls Igneal's words about speaking for the future. In the Fairy Hills dorm, Urza and Wendy reflect on their bond and vow to protect each other. Warren establishes a radar facility to detect enemy forces. Mavis proposes splitting forces into north and south, but Alvarez's fleet, using cloaking devices, assaults Fairy Tale from the air. Agil leads the attacks, but Fairy Tale members defend bravely. Urza intercepts Agil, and Mavis sends Dragon Slayers to counter the fleet. Biska then fires a Jupiter cannon, but Agil deflects the shot. The Dragon Slayers fight Agil personally, with Urza joining the fray. Great thanks Juvia for her support, promising to answer her feelings after the battle. Warren reports Alvarez's movements to Makarov, and as Alvarez's forces close in, Mavis alerts everyone. Urza battles Agil, struggling but determined. Freed and Warren then discover a barrier breach by Wall, whose forces march into the city. Lucy finds Brandish in her bathroom, who shrinks her house as a warning. Lucy then prepares to fight. Warren detects 300 ships approaching from all directions, boxing in Fairy Tale. And Mary Jane unveils a new Satan form, Sarah, to fight the enemies. Urza then fights Agil, who surrounds her with a whirlwind of sand. Freed and Warren find the barrier penetrated by Wall, and as Agil attacks, Biska fires the Jupiter cannon, destroying Agil's ship. Urza then defeats Agil with a water-based sword, and Natsu saves the fallen Urza. On the battlefield, Lucy and Kana subdue Brandish, while Gray's group encounters mechanical soldiers created by Wall. The Thunder God tribe and Ichiya fight Wall's forces, eventually defeating him. Brandish refuses to talk about her relationship with Lucy's mother, demanding Lucy kill her instead. Kana then advises Lucy to stop trying. Invel then informs Zareth about the deaths of Agil and Brandish, but Zareth assures him that they are still alive. Warren then reports that Bosco's guilds have been wiped out. Sabretooth and Blue Pegasus then head north, Mermaid Heel and Lamia Scale head south, and the gods of Ishgard defend the east. Natsu then charges towards Zareth, revealing his Fire Dragon King mode, intending to end the Black Wizard for good. However, Zareth survives Natsu's attack, and reveals that he is Natsu's older brother, and that Natsu is the most powerful Aetherius, and Natsu is stunned by the revelation, and Zareth explains their past in the creation of the Aetherius. 400 years ago, Natsu was born as the younger brother of Zareth, and they lived peacefully in a small village with their parents. However, Natsu died at a young age alongside their parents due to a dragon attack. This caused Zareth to research dark magic and its relation to life and death. While experimenting with dark magic, Zareth became cursed with immortality. His curse caused him to age very slowly and made him unable to die. This curse also brought misfortune and death to anyone he loved. In his quest to find a way to end his mortality, Zareth created several powerful demons using dark magic, eventually reviving Natsu's deceased body as his most powerful demon, known as End, whose purpose was to get strong enough to eventually kill Zareth. However, with Acnologia posing an eternal threat to humanity, Zareth, Lucy's descendant, Anna Heartfilia, and the good dragons of that era made an alliance to defeat Acnologia by using the Eclipse Gate. one of Zareth's creations, alongside Anna's celestial spirit keys, allowing 5 chosen dragon slayers, Natsu, Gajeel, Wendy, Sting, and Rogue, to be sent 400 years in the future with the dragons sealed inside them, so that their souls, which were maimed by Acnologia in their timeline, could properly heal in the present timeline's rich magical atmosphere known as Ether Nano, losing their memories in the process. Zareth, pleased with how strong Natsu has become, then reveals that he has since changed his mind, deciding to destroy humanity instead. Natsu, shook by the reveal, charges at Zareth, but is stopped by Happy. Zareth orders his troops to move out again, and Demaria and Wall return, conquering Hargan, encountering Fior's guilds. Bloodman fights in the north, and God Serena faces the 4 gods of Ishgard in the east. Marin then infiltrates Fairy Tail, strangling Brandish, but Lucy, Kana, and Porliuska save her. Brandish reveals her past connection to Lucy's mother, Grammy, who passed down the Aquarius Key. As the sun rises, the battle to liberate Hargan continues, with Lamia Scale, Mermaid Heel Alliance fighting Demaria and Wall's forces. While Sharia starts taking out foot soldiers, Demaria's blade tears her clothes. Demaria, then identifying Sharia as the healer, swiftly moves to kill her, but is struck by Wendy, who comes to Sharia's aid. Gray and Juvia then back up as surprise Lyon, while Urza teams up with Kagura. Laxus then appears and hammers Wall, who then absorbs his attack. Wall, preparing to retaliate, is struck again by Laxus, who vows to defeat him. Laxus and Wall's battle then begins, with Laxus overpowering Wall, who fires bullets at him to no avail. Wall analyzes Laxus' body, surprised by the magical barrier particles, and attacks. Meanwhile, Urza and Kagura head to the port harbor to face Nineheart. Demaria plans to show no mercy against the Sky Sisters, and Wall completes his analysis and launches a blast of fire at Laxus, who dodges but is affected by the anti-magic particles. Wall then charges at Laxus, bombarding him with weaponry and finishing with a railgun attack. Laxus, replenished by electrical currents, counterattacks but collapses, affected by the magic barrier particles. Despite being heavily damaged, Laxus draws a Jutsu Shiki to surround Wall, who nullifies the barrier. Laxus then charges at Wall, nullifying the particles in his body, and uses red lightning to kill Wall, whose body was previously immune to electricity. Meanwhile, Happy watches over a sick Natsu and a sleeping Lucy, promising to find a way to save Natsu from his fate with Zareth. Mavis and Makarov discuss the state of the war, noting that although 2 of the Spriggan 12 are down, the eastern and western Alvarez forces remain a threat. On the battlefield, Gray, Lyon, and Juvia take out more enemies and are saved by Merity, who announces Crime Sorcery's arrival. Urza and Kagura fight their way to Nineheart, who uses his magic to create undead apparitions of past foes. As Demaria pauses the battlefield with her Age Seal, she teases Wendy and Sharia, who break free and push back the Warrior Queen. Altir's voice admonishes Demaria, revealing her presence and vowing to defeat Demaria in the name of her former guild. Altir then helps the Sky Sisters fight Demaria, who reveals her god soul power from the god of time, Kronos. Carla then saves Wendy from a laser shot, sacrificing herself, and Altir stops Carla's time to prevent her death and suggests using Third Origin, a future power, at the cost of never using magic again. Wendy and Sharia argue over who should use the Third Origin. Wendy then charges at Kronos but is swept aside. Sharia, now empowered by the Third Origin, fights Kronos and declares her final spell, defeating Demaria and dispelling the Age Seal. Lucy and Happy watching over Natsu as the guild celebrates another Spriggan 12 defeat. Jacob then arrives, using his magic to transport everyone to an alternate dimension. Mavis remains, and Jacob demands to know where Fairy Heart is. Lucy, saved by Horologium, surprise attacks Jacob but is defended by a rejuvenated Natsu. They battle Jacob, who uses stealth magic to disappear. Lucy then exposes Jacob with Loki's help, and they subdue him. Meanwhile, Mavis devises a plan to defeat Zareth. In the west, Zareth orders his soldiers to move toward Fairy Tail, and at the guild hall, Natsu and Lucy struggle with Jacob, who threatens to kill their captured comrades. Brandish informs Jacob that she is among the captured. Makarov then punches Jacob, allowing Natsu to finish him with an enhanced fist attack. Brandish then warns of the approaching August, the strongest of the Spriggan 12. While the guild prepares for his arrival, Mavis concocts a plan to defeat Zareth, needing Kana to destroy her current apparition to free her real body. In the north, Kajil's squad witnesses their allied guilds brutally crucified by the Alvarez army. Jalal deduces that Simon, who confronts Kagura, is an illusion created by Nineheart's magic. Kagura saves Jalal, and Urza fights her own past foes, ultimately overcoming them all. Jalal then defeats Nineheart, and the Southern Ishkar faction recoups, ready to return to their guild. Elsewhere, Irene enchants the mountain and drastically changes the climate to prepare for battle. Brandish tries to negotiate with August, but Mess doubts her. Natsu then exposes Mess spying, and Brandish enlarges Happy to support everyone's weight. In the north, Kajil fights Bloodman, who traps him and tries to drag him to the underworld. Levy tries to help, but Kajil sacrifices himself to protect her. Meanwhile, Brandish stabs August during negotiations, shocking everyone. Irene and Acnologia then battle, and Irene uses her powerful magic, Universe 1, to alter Fior's landscape, bringing Zeref closer to Fairyheart and banishing Acnologia. Zera then contacts Fairy Tail members, revealing they are on Tenrou Island due to the magic that has altered Fior. She warns that once Mavis remembers her, she will disappear, but aims to help the guild in the meantime. Meanwhile, Fairy Tail members like Natsu and Lucy regroup and face Irene, who is destroying everything in her path. Juliet and Hein plan to kill Mira Jane, but Zera warns the guild to return as Mavis is in danger. Mira Jane battles Juliet and Hein, but is attacked by Irene. August and Brandish later appear, with August piercing Mira Jane's heart. Sorno and Yukino then find each other, while Demaria tortures Brandish. Gray and Juvia are then forced into a deadly battle by Inbel's ice magic, leading them to attempt to unalive themselves to save each other. Gray, however, survives with Juvia's blood in him and confronts Inbel. Back at the guild hall, Mavis struggles as Zeref and his army prepare to destroy Fairy Tail. Makarov uses his final Fairy Law spell to clear the battlefield, sacrificing himself. Urza, Natsu, and Gray then face off, but Urza's intervention stops their fight. Meanwhile, other battles rage on, with Larcade revealing himself as Zeref's son, and Kagura falling in battle. The war continues, with hope fading as the guild fights for their survival. In the underneath chamber, Porliuska and Brandish finish attending to the wounds of Natsu, Gray, and Juvia. Everyone notices Natsu's body starts letting off a cold steam, worrying everyone about what's currently going on with him. Inside his consciousness, Zeref appears to inform him that he will die soon. Zeref then reveals Natsu's origins, including that his parents were killed and his mother was a dragon slayer who used dragon slayer magic invented by Irene, Belsirian. Natsu learns that he was part of Zeref's experiments and that the dragon seed in him connects him to the other dragon slayers as well. Zeref then discloses that Natsu is one of his children, just like Larcade, showing a dark bond between them. Sting then helps Natsu explore his subconscious, revealing the impact of his dragon seed. Igneel then appears in Natsu's heart, stressing the choice between becoming a dragon or a demon, like Zeref wants. Meanwhile, as the battle rages, Sting fights Larcade, revealing their connection to Zeref and saving Yukino. Larcade's magic creates chaos, but Sting and Rogue eventually overcome it. Meanwhile, Urza learns of her mother Irene's history as a dragon queen and her painful transformation into a dragon. In the end, Irene sacrifices herself, and Natsu decides not to live as a dragon or a demon, but to live as a human being, ending his internal conflict and preparing him for the final battle with Zeref. In Magnolia, as the war reaches its peak, Mavis instructs everyone to use their knowledge of the city to their advantage. Mary Jane defeats Jacob, and Lizana and Elfman overcome Agil. Agil's grandfather, Yagil, challenges them to fight him instead. Meanwhile, Natsu and Lucy regroup with Brandish and a shrunken Demiria. As the ground shakes, caused by August calling the Spriggan 12 to destroy everything, Gildarts battles August. Gray then arrives at the guild hall and confronts Zeref, learning that Zeref's true goal is more complex than simply defeating Acnologia. Gray prepares his ice shell spell to seal Zeref, which Zeref mocks is only futile. Natsu, however, stops Gray, urging him to live and fight on. Acnologia then appears at Fairy Hills, stomping on Irene's body, revealing his disdain for her. As Natsu and Zeref fight, Zeref's curse activates, and Larcade tries to help but is blasted away by Zeref. Gildarts and Kana then face August, who overpowers them and threatens Kana. Zeref then reveals that Larcade was another creation like Natsu. August, realizing he can't win, recalls his past and decides to stop all of the destruction, briefly appearing as a child to Mavis before dying. Lucy and Gray then join Mavis, while Natsu, in confrontation with Zeref, tries to get through to him with emotion by acknowledging him as his brother, but Zeref rejects it as they begin their final face-off. Meanwhile, Acnologia descends down, and after stomping on Irene's body, pisses off Urza, and her and Wendy try to confront him. Jalal intervenes, but Acnologia, being able to consume any magic, is unaffected. Wendy and Jalal then fight back, but Acnologia continues his assault. Christina, now rebuilt, crashes into Acnologia, allowing Ichia and the others to escape, with Wendy and Urza. They plan to lure Acnologia into a special place called the Space Between Time, which could trap him forever. Anna, who has traveled from the past, reveals that she came with the Dragon Slayers to defeat Acnologia too. She explains that the space between time is a realm of nothingness, which could be the key to defeating Acnologia. Meanwhile, Zeref, who is holding Natsu's book, reveals his plan to use Neo Eclipse and Fairy Heart to reset time and live his life over without immortality. With the others, Anna and her allies attempt to open the space between time, but Zeref has sealed it to obtain Fairy Heart for himself. Back at Fairy Tail, Zeref promises Mavis that with Neo Eclipse, he will defeat Acnologia and make sure that the future is safe, while Mavis states she doesn't want the world to be destroyed, but falls to the ground. Zeref then activates Fairy Heart, turning him into a god that surpasses both space and time. Zeref and Natsu then face off in a fierce battle. Mavis arrives and proposes a plan to free Zeref from immortality. However, Zeref absorbs her magic and prepares to defeat Acnologia. Acnologia continues his pursuit, and Jalal struggles to push him into the space between time, but Zeref interferes. Natsu, empowered by his dragon force, fights Zeref, causing massive destruction to Zeref. Mavis tries to convince Zeref to change his ways, but ultimately she kisses him, admitting that she is still in love with him, and her and Zeref die together due to his curse of Ankh-Saram, which kills all those he loves. After the battle, Natsu disappears, leaving his friends in despair. Lucy, affected by the demonic magic from Natsu's book, is healed by Gray. The guild then celebrates their victory, but soon they discover that Acnologia has absorbed the space between time and gained control over time magic. He casts Eternal Flare, destroying parts of the world and threatening humanity. Acnologia then warps the Dragon Slayers into the space between time for the final confrontation. It is here we get a flashback to Acnologia's origin. 400 years in the past, Acnologia lives as a human doctor in a secluded village that is protected by another dragon named Acnologia, who leaves to investigate rumors of Dragon Slayer magic. Later, the doctor watches in horror as the mutilated guardian returns and leads the other dragons in destroying the village. The human Acnologia commits to learning Dragon Slayer magic to take revenge against all of dragonkind for his home's destruction. Forgetting his original name, he renames himself Acnologia after his former guardian as a symbol of his hatred, eventually transforming into a dragon himself. Back in the present, the Dragon Slayer's attacks can't harm Acnologia due to his immunity to magic. Lucy then plans to trap Acnologia using Fairy Sphere, the only spell he's ever failed to overcome. The wizards then lure him to Hargan and use an old ship to make him motion sick. However, Acnologia destroys the fleet. Gray and Lyon build an ice ship, and Urza forces Acnologia onto it. Lucy then tries to use Fairy Sphere, but needs more power. Melody then helps by combining the guild's magic with the others across Ishgard, successfully trapping Acnologia. Acnologia's spirit defeats most Dragon Slayers except Natsu, who, with Wendy's help, receives all their magic to defeat Acnologia. Natsu then destroys Acnologia's body and spirit with their combined magic, freeing the dragons from the time rift and saving the world. A year later, Fairy Tail celebrates Lucy's novel about their guild's adventures. They notice two strangers in the crowd who resemble Mavis and Zeref, who befriend each other, and Natsu and Happy invite Lucy on a new job. Reminding her of their shared adventures, Lucy thanks them, and the team sets out on the guild's 100 years quest. And that is where the original Fairy Tail anime ends, and thus begins the 100 years quest. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to slay that like button, hit subscribe, and until next time, peace.